Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to be covering the Java programming language. So from this video onward, we're going to cover the Java programming language. So to preface this series, I'm making a couple assumptions. The first assumption is that you have Java, the Java runtime, and the JDK already installed, and that you have an IDE installed. So the IDE we will be using in this tutorial series is Eclipse. But if you prefer, you can use any normal text editor like Notepad++, Notepad, Visual Studio, Sublime Text, and that, or anything like that, and then use the command line or the terminal, depending on what platform you're using, to compile and run your code. However, if you choose an IDE like Eclipse or IntelliJ or BlueJ or something of that nature, then that means you will be able to run your code within the IDE itself, and you don't have to go and you don't have to go around and type all these commands in the terminal and all that stuff. Now, another assumption here is later on in the series, we are going to be covering how to create graphical user interfaces with Java, and we'll be using 3 different frameworks: AWT, Swing, and JavaFX. With JavaFX, JDK 10 and onward, you have to install JavaFX manually into your environment yourself. However, anywhere from JDK 7 up to JDK 9, JavaFX is included in the JDK, so you shouldn't have any issues there. I'm using Java 8. You can use whatever version of Java you want. Just keep in mind that with JDK, if you're using JDK 10, 11, 12, or whatever the latest version of JDK is beyond JDK 10, JDK 10 and beyond, you'll have to install JavaFX into your workspace, into your project as a dependency. So that's kind of the whole. That's the assumptions and little preface information that you guys need to know before we start this tutorial series. Another thing is, if you hear my chair squeaking, I apologize. I need to get some WD-40 to kind of oil it up so it doesn't squeak, and so it doesn't like squeak or screech or anything like that. It's kind of annoying, I know, and I'm sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about that. But I also got a new mic, so hopefully my microphone quality is better. It should be, from what I've gathered. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. So yeah, that basically does it for that. If we go into Notepad++ here, I have these are my tutorial plans for this series. We have over 190 tutorials that we're gonna go through in this tutorial series. And then if you guys want, I can combine all of them into one big video and then upload it as a complete course. If that's what you prefer, then go for it. Tell me down in the comments. Let me know. If you prefer to only have them in episodic format, into episodic bite-sized format with each lesson, let me know that as well. That's perfectly fine too. Either way, you will always have this tutorial series in parts. So, kind of going over this, you can see in the first several dozen episodes, or tutorials. You can call them episodes, whichever you prefer. All the way down until we get to generics. That is all the way up until like tutorial 30 here. That is where we'll be learning like all of the standard, the Java standard library stuff for the language itself. Now, after that, we'll be doing things like networking and learning how to send email with Java, because maybe you want to make an email client, for example, or you want to make something on the server side that sends an email. You want to know how to do that. Multi-threading, because in some applications you're going to want to work with multiple threads. Some extra features like lambda expressions that are used in Java 8 and beyond. You'll also be learning how to parse data. So you will be learning how to parse XML and JSON within Java. For JSON parsing, we will be using what's called JSON. It's a open source Google library for Java that allows you to grab some JSON and parse it into normal Java objects. You'll learn what an object is when we start the video. Then we start getting into the graphical user interface stuff. We'll first be learning AWT. AWT is the first GUI framework that was released for Java. And AWT usually will use the default look of your controls on your... It'll use the default look of the controls on your computer, but there's not as many of them. And it's just not as useful. After that, you'll be learning Swing. And Swing was the next one used, created, I should say. And it's still widely used even today, although JavaFX is being used more and more in Java GUI applications. And JavaFX and Swing can even be integrated with one another. So if you have an application in a workplace that's already using Swing and they want you to slowly but surely implement JavaFX into it, you'll know how to do that. So you can see all that. We got lots of content there. And then we've got JavaFX, which again is the most modern framework for graphical user interfaces in Java. We're going to be learning anything from like input fields to charts to opening files, saving files, that kind of stuff. After that, we'll learn how to connect to databases. And this is another very important skill, because in applications that you make for a business, like let's say we have a desktop application that manages a store. You're going to want to know how to manage a database with you have to know how to manage a database with your code. So JDBC, or Java Database Connectivity, is how we'll do that. So we got a lot of that, and in that section we're also going to talk a lot about database security and why certain things are used over others, like why a prepared statement is preferred over a normal statement when you want to query something from the database, why that's more secure, and that kind of stuff, because it's very important stuff. We'll also learn the new date time API within Java 8 and beyond, because the old date API, sure, it's still used, but the new datetime API is constantly being adopted and has some really nice features. And that's kind of where we end off the tutorial. We end off with learning how to manage dates and times and stuff like that. So that pretty much does it, really, for all the different concepts that we're going to cover. We're also going to make a couple different applications along the way, because one of the goals for this tutorial series is that I want this to be a practical approach to learning Java. I want you to be able to use those skills as we go along, so you can practice them and build on them, so you're ready for the next stages of the tutorial series and be able to build more complex applications as we go. So that pretty much does it for this introduction video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. See ya.